All right, bacon jam, part 1, and part 2, and part 3. Bacon jam all day. Welcome back, my name is Clayton Chapman. Today, I'm going to show you how to make bacon jam. I talk a lot about kitchen staples when I'm making these videos because, you know, we're all busy people. And I feel like if you can set your home pantry up to the point of where you have all these delicious things in it all of the time, when you actually have to go make your meals, it's really easy and it's always going to taste great. So, homemade slab bacon. If you haven't seen the video, we show you how to cure and how to smoke it at home. Fresh thyme and bay leaf. Oftentimes you see these bay leaves at the grocery store and they're dried and they've been in a jar for like 10 years. Go with the fresh stuff, it's great. It still has all the essential oils in it, a lot more flavor to it. A little bit of farm fresh raw honey, yellow onion, fresh flat leaf parsley, a house-made whole grain mustard. Any real mustard would do, or whole mustard seeds, but this is a great addition. At the very end, we're gonna finish with this white wine vinegar made in Cody, Nebraska by our friends at George Paul. Slab bacon, we're just gonna go ahead, cut off healthy size piece here, go through and just kind of trim it up into lardons. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start to render out some of this fat, crisp up the bacon, then we're gonna caramelize the onion in the bacon fat, kind of let this all cook down, and then when it's all said and done, I'm gonna strain off all the fat, put this in a food processor, and just kind of pulse it and emulsify some of the fat back into it. Delicious. So just kind of rough dice. Like I said, it's gonna go in the food processor later, so it doesn't need to be perfect, as long as all the cuts are relatively the same size so that they cook evenly. Just go right into a preheated pan here. This enameled cast iron is great. Start to smell that bacon render. Smells awesome. Just gonna let that slow and low. Onion, you can go in half. So I'm just gonna make a series of cuts, a few, going up the onion here. The bacon's starting to render. I just wanted to release some of that fat before I added the thyme and the bay leaf. Now, a lot of these hardy herbs like thyme, sage, rosemary, things like that, they're gonna activate best when they're cooked in fat. So I rendered my fat, I'm gonna go ahead and add my fresh bay leaf. Usually I like to just crack them a few times, rub them with my fingers just to get some of those essential oils going. In it goes, thyme goes in. Onions go in. Start to let those caramelize a bit. So this is kind of like a combination of sweet and savory. The honey makes it a little sweet, but the mustard and the parsley and the onion brings it back pretty savory. Go ahead and start picking some of our parsley leaves, and then I'm gonna save all the stems for like a homemade chicken stock or beef broth or vegetable broth or whatever makes you happy. Okay, so sometimes when I'm caramelizing things, whether it be onions, mushrooms, bacon, what have you, as this starts to cook, like I really feel like whatever ingredient you're cooking reaches like a saturation point with the fat and it starts to pick up color, we're not necessarily releasing the sugars, we're almost like frying at this point. So I like to either have some chicken stock on hand, vegetable stock, or water just to cover, and what that is going to do is it's going to kind of stop the frying process, continue the cooking process, allow the onions to continue to soften, caramelize, and so on and so forth. So water goes in. Do rough chopped parsley. This will go in at the very end. All right, so we're getting close. Our water's starting to evaporate a bit. That fat's gonna stay in the pan. I'm gonna go ahead and remove these thyme sprigs. So, right before we come off the stove, mustard goes in. Nice, good size heaping tablespoon or so. Our honey, and that about the same amount. About a good sized tablespoon or so. It is ready to be pulled. Onions are caramelized. Bacon's been crisp and then like softened again as it's cooked down in that water. So it's like really like kind of supple and sticky and tender. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my heat. I just want to strain off the liquid. I'll go ahead and go through this bowl strainer here. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in the food processor with this. In the food processor, I'm also gonna add my fresh lemon zest, my parsley, and a splash of vinegar to finish. Okay, you can see it's nice and pulverized. Let's just take a little bit of the liquid that I strained off. Oh, it's just so good. I like eat this stuff by the spoonful. It's awesome. I love the savory component of the mustard and the fresh brightness of the lemon. So one of my favorite kitchen staples. They're all my favorite, I guess. That's why I make them all the time. Great on toast, great with butter, great to eat by the spoonful like I just did. This can keep up in the refrigerator for a long time. I'd say with the parsley in it, it's probably good for up to a month. If you take the fresh herb component out and you just put in the lemon and the mustard and the honey and the onions, this can probably keep in the refrigerator pretty much indefinitely. From my kitchen to yours, hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. We'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. Follow us on social media, all the usual suspects, where we share new tips, tricks, and recipes weekly of all my favorite dishes that I love to make at home.
Smells like a Thanksgiving afternoon.